this is Liliana Brown, and welcome to Resilient Now podcast. We have a special guest today. His name is Chaz, and he will talk to you in just a second. I wanted to tell you what Resilient Now is. It's a platform where you can come and listen to these speakers multiple times. It doesn't cost anything, and hopefully you can hear the story you're going through now, and you can hear somebody who's actually gone through that story and is on the other side of that. And hopefully that will give you hope. So that's why we're doing this. And I'm very excited to welcome Chaz. Chaz, thank you for being here.
You're
Um,
welcome.
the first thing I always do is I ask this question, what does resilient now mean to you?
It's a great question. You mentioned that you would be asking this, so I did think about it a little bit, but the thing that comes to mind is something that my colleagues and I say often to each other is flexibility at all times. We shall be flexible in all times, all places, and all things. It's the work that we do is requires us to be flexible because things change and it applies across the board for me in life.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Chaz, you're going to share a resilient story. So you're my first, one of the first men I've had on the podcast. So I'm super
Oh,
excited
wow.
about that because we need to target some men because, they need resilient stories too. So I'm so happy you're here. And I know the story you're going to share with us is very challenging, but again, thank you for being here and I'll let you just begin.
Oh, okay. There's so many people that have gone through what I've gone through. I'll just name it. My wife and I lost our home in the Pacific Palisades fire earlier this year, and I think you've had her on the program, and I think you've had some other visitors, guests from the fire that have fire experience too. In many ways, our experiences are similar. In many ways, they're all unique. And it's nothing that we planned for. And we, 1 minute we were going to a doctor's appointment, just as normal, a few miles away from where we live in the Palisades. And the next minute there was smoke billowing and people were calling and the alarms were going off on our phone and we had to dash and get ready and get out of our home quickly. And then from there, it's just been one place after another, one thing after another. And I think if you had talked to me, the day after the fire, I might have looked a little different from a month after the fire. And today it's, close to 6 months after the fire. And things have evolved and changed. And, you know, we had a plan. My wife and I lived in the house for decades, and I'm still working off and on, but mainly retired. And it was going to be easy. It was going to be relaxed. And guess what? It changed. It all changed. And um, I think if you ask me about being resilient, I'll probably answer and say, I don't necessarily feel resilient all the time. I
Mhm.
feel kind of out of sorts. I feel off balance. I think the thing that's been most challenging, everything's been a little challenging, but the whole experience is puts you completely off balance. And so you're off balance from one day to the next, from one moment to the next. You're off balance within yourself, and you're
Mhm.
off balance with your partner, and you're off
Mhm.
balance with the world. Um, all that said, as grumpy as that might make me feel from day to day, uh, people have been wonderful. They've called, the families rallied, the friends have rallied. We constantly, heard from folks and still hear from folks, and they want to know how we are. And that's given me a lot of strength and buoyed me and given me tools to work with. People reached out for concrete help, for spiritual help, for emotional help, and I can't thank them enough. And I've got a great partner, and she's resilient. She's gone through a lot in her life that has, I've got nothing on her. This little thing called a fire and the aftermath is, and then she's resilient, and I've got other people in our lives that have many, many challenges and they're resilient. I mean, they've been resilient way before the fire and they
Hmm.
went through the fire and they continue to go through the things they go through. I count myself fortunate and blessed and lucky. We landed on our daughter's doorstep, you know, after staying with some other friends. And now we're hanging around our daughter. There's many things that happened because of the fire or after the fire that have been real blessings and would not have happened had the fire not happened
Right.
and had not happened if we hadn't been pushed out.
Yes.
The whole thing has forced change. And, like most people, I'm not a really big fan of change. Um,
Right.
but,
But it's
what
constant.
happens? It's constant, and if you stay on the train long enough, as they say, the scenery will change.
Yes.
And the scenery has been changing for us and it's continuing to change. And how do I respond? How do I react?
Hmm.
Um, can I be resilient enough? And it's a great word, to be, you know, to find some balance within myself and then be balanced with my partner and be
Hmm.
balanced with the people around me. It's not always easy. It's not
No.
always possible. Some days, and the great thing is, my wife and I are not always in the same place every day, and that's great news because one day she'll be up and I'll be down that day, and that next day I'll be up and she'll be down. So we have each other to be able to balance each other, to balance the emotions and the cycles. And I the other thing is letting go and accepting a couple of other things that are very hard for me.
Yes.
But and they've always been hard, but this is, you know, we lost a house. Get over it. Move on. Let's
Yeah.
figure out what's next. I think, what the other thing that knowing that I was going to be on this podcast that made me think a lot about is how have I gotten through this?
Yes.
I get through this by being into action. I have to figure out what's coming, what's been, keep track of what's been, keep track of what's going on right now, staying in the present, be mindful of what's coming at us. We're trying to anticipate what's happening so that then when things unfold, however they're going to unfold, we're as ready as possible and we maybe thought things through as possible. Uh, and I would like to be, I'd like to say that, everything's been perfect. I've been a spiritual giant and that I've let go and let things happen as they will. But, I've struggled.
Yeah. We
And,
all do. We all do.
exactly. And, if I think everybody that we've talked to from the fire, we've stayed in touch with friends and neighbors, and everybody's got their own ups and downs. And I I think I'm very lucky that I have the partner that I have, the family that I have, and the program that I have, because it's given me a ton of tools to be able to approach this whole thing. I think without all that, I'd be a hot mess. But, uh, we're very lucky. We've been, the things are not the way we planned, but they've been they've been good, and I couldn't ask for more. Would I want the house back the way it was? You know, it's not going to happen.
Hmm.
So, um, and it's also an opportunity to move on and create something new again.
Right.
That's cool.
Yes.
Did I
Not
want to do
dwelling
that?
if I still have the house, because then that keeps you away from the moment. So you just
Yeah. Did I
moving
want that?
forward.
No. Did I, now that we have that, that's pretty cool. So can I see the opportunity in the moment? Can I seize the opportunity in the moment? And not wish for something that's not going to be available to me and
Right.
not try to fight. So, this notion of stop fighting, all things, you know, just put down the, you know, whatever weapon I'm fighting with and
Yeah.
just let it go because it's so much easier to not fight and struggle. We don't struggle, right?
Yes, it's a much easier way and softer way to live, not to fight things.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Chaz, thank you so much. So you've given us a lot of gratitudes, but I'm going to ask you for one more
Mm.
um, before we close. So what's like the top right now of your list for your gratitude?
It's simple. It's my wife and my family.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you. Thank you. That's beautiful. Well, thank you for being here. It has been an honor to be able to have you on the podcast. I know your story will resonate with somebody and hopefully a lot of people and who need it, who actually want it. Because I always say it's never about the people who need it. It's about the people who want it. So there's solutions here. And thank you for giving us yours. And I'm sorry you lost your house. That's terrible. And I want to thank you and your wife, Elaine, for being on the podcast. And I know for you that the best is yet to come. So, everybody, please tune in for more podcasts. And thank you for being with us and make it a wonderful day.
Thank you, Liliana.